So hello everyone, greetings summoners. Today we are going to have a layer 0 video. This means the video that I'm recording right now is basically we are going to talk about information in League of Legends and not like behavior theory, team theory, this kind of stuff. No, it's just information that are base numbers, timers, etc. Okay? So let's go to the video. We are going to talk about jungle respawn timers, jungle spawn timers, and some combination of different respawn timers. So for you to understand that, first let's have a little exercise. And I have already prepared something here. I'm not even sure if I am going to hit everything, but let's go. Red and blue. When are red respawn timers? Sorry, spawn timers, and how much it takes to respawn. So we all know that red and blue spawn at 1 minute and 30 seconds and have a 5 minutes respawn timer. Okay, great. Raptors and wolves. We all know that raptors and wolves spawn at 1:30 and the respawn timer, do you know, it has been changed 1 year ago, I guess. 2 minutes and 15 seconds. And I want you to be answering with me, right? This kind of stuff. Okay, so gromp and krug respawn timer. Many people have this in mind. Maybe 140, maybe 145. No, 142. 2 minutes and 15 respawn. Okay. Scuttler. This everyone knows his first spawn. 315. But do you know how much it takes after you kill the second Scuttler? Because killing the first Scuttler makes no difference whatsoever in his respawn, only the second one, and every Scuttle after that is 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I think the Scuttle gives vision for 1 minute and 30, so you can also say 1 minute after vision despawns, right? And this is very important. Many people think of their jungle timers, but they forget about Scuttle respawn timers. They just react, oh, I'm near Scuttle, I'm not. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this later. Dragoon. Oh, I forgot Elder Drake. What? My keyboard is not working. Wait. Okay, Elder Drake. So first, Drake spawn. I think everyone should notice 5 minutes. And respawn 5 minutes. Very simple, very straightforward. Elder Drake spawn after Soul, right after 4 Drakes from one team. And 6 minutes spawn and respawn timer. This will be relevant when I'm talking about late game later. Okay, so herald, I think everyone knows, 8 minutes. And if I am not incorrect, it's 6 minutes. I'm not 100% sure in this one. Let me check. Okay, so we can go to Baron while I'm checking. Spawn and respawn. Everyone knows, I guess, if you like are not in a time machine and are in 2015 where it was 15 minutes, is 20 minutes spawn timer and 6 minutes respawn timer. I'm searching here, Herald Wiki Law. You should always do this, right? Just write Herald Wiki, anything wiki. I'm pretty sure 6 minutes. Can now respawn after 6 minutes. Where? What? Why is can respawn? Respawn. Yeah, but it's 6 minutes, right? Baron, if 6 or 7 minutes. Now I'm getting a little bit crazy here. I think it's 6 minutes. Baron wiki law. So you see, even I sometimes spawning time reduced to 6 from 7. Okay, I had in my mind like something from 4 seasons ago. Very nice. Okay. So we have all these timers, and what does that mean? What can we do with all these timers in the game? I'll show you how to use these timers in a effective way that you can predict every single game, or not every single, I would say most of the games. So I don't even know if I'm going to clear the jungle, but let me just get correct runes. So if you have, I don't know, OCD, you don't get triggered by me going Cartus with, I don't know what rune I was using, Guardian or Spellbook. Okay. Let's think a little bit, okay? First, blue buff. These are timers that you need to know if you play jungle, but you also need to know if you play a lane in competitive level or at least high level. Even challenger players, I think everyone knows that by instinct, or if they don't, they are trolling. So if you imagine a Cartus doing a full clear, for example, when will his first camp spawn? Because right, you do blue, then you do gromp. When your first camp spawn is like 4 minutes and 10 seconds to 4 minutes and 20 seconds, depending on the jungler that you are playing. Cartus would be like 4 minutes and 5 to 4 minutes and 15, I guess. And if you know that every single camp is respawning a little bit after that. So here, for example, for 20 gromp, for I don't know 30, for 35 wolf, for 55 raptors, and here it will take a little bit longer because you did red before, right? So I don't know, 5 minutes, and because there would be already before 5 probably. And here will be like 5 minutes and 10, 5 minutes and 20, something like that. And these timers are useful for mainly two things. The first, of course, if you are playing, for example, top lane, you know that the enemy jungle will be at gromp, or sorry, krugs, or gromp around 4 minutes and 20 if you haven't seen him in map. So you have to create a wave state where you won't be punished by that. So crashing right before, or crashing like 30 seconds before, in a way the wave bounce back to you, but without stacking a big wave in a way that you can get dove, right? Because he can go outside of base, do krugs or even skip krugs, go top and dive you if you let a big wave stack, or kill you if the enemy freezes. Or invade your jungle if the enemy has pressure and they have like similar pathings, and your jungle overextended. The second thing, this is important now for junglers, is to know until when you can recall. So you clear a jungle, you do scuttle, for example, let's think you did scuttle you are in river 3 minutes and 20 seconds. You do scuttle, maybe you take 4 or 5 seconds, so 3 minutes and 25 seconds, you are finished clearing or your jungle. Maybe you have one camp that you don't want because your champion is bad into doing krugs. Now you have some time to do some proactivity. But usually laners already know, at least in high level, that the jungler will be around Scuttler at 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So you can't find any pro activity if you did not go to krugs. So what they will do like some crazy pathing going around the fog of war, and they will try to do something. But the problem is, if you don't recall until 4 minutes and 10 seconds, your jungle will be already respawning level 4 and you will be stuck in level 3 or 4 with no items, no recall, maybe no potions probably. And if the enemy jungle is smart and he recalled, he has now full HP, he has 2 potions and he has items. So he can invade whenever he wants if he knows that you overextended. So you overextend and you do like 1 camp and recall, or no camp and recall at 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Then the enemy jungler just, for example, do gromp and can go straight for your raptors, steal your raptors. And your jungle will be like, you have krugs, you have wolves, and gromp you have to go all the way from krugs to wolves, walk all this without farming anything. It's kinda weird. And then mid jungler will have much more experience. Or maybe if he can track you in a better way, he wait for you to do your camp and ward here and try to kill you in raptors. Or maybe he does 3 camps and invade you in wolves because you are 30 seconds behind him. He knows he can just clear 3 camps and invade you before you are even able to do your wolf. Then you lose, suddenly you are losing wolf and gromp. So like this 4 minutes and 20 is very important to not overextend in your recall, especially if you are not a invade jungler. Because if you are playing Nidalee, for example, you can overextend because you don't have only your own jungle camps. If your jungle get messed up, you go to the enemy jungle and farm the enemy jungle. But if you are playing something like Diana, that is weak early game, that can't invade, that can't win 1v1 in many cases, then you really need to have this recall. So, okay. Also, please don't die for Scuttle gank, right? 3 minutes? Like from 3 minutes until 4 minutes is the window that you can't be ganked. Man, please. If you're a laner, you know that the enemy jungle is doing proactivity. Regardless of if he is a full clear jungler or if he is a gank jungler, they all are free in the window of 3 minutes to 4 minutes. After 4 minutes, at least farming junglers and most not farming junglers as well should be recalling. Okay. Now I know the 4 minutes and 20 timer for 3 things: tracking and invading enemy jungle, tracking enemy jungle and avoiding gank if you are in his weak side, right, the side he started, and also avoiding gank if you are in his strong side, because you know he can be there or you know he should not be there, otherwise he will be punished in jungle camps. Also, you can use that if your jungle did that. You know that if you are weak side, for example, in bot lane, that is very common, right? Because everyone starts bot. He will do everything and he will be around bot at 4 minutes and 30 seconds. That is a cannon wave. So you can mess up your wave state only from 4 minutes and 30 seconds or 4 minutes and 20 seconds in the future. So if you mess your wave at 3 minutes, your jungle started bot side, you are fucked. He will not he will have to go straight from his top side jungle to bot to help you. He'll probably lose 1 to 2 camps, and that is like 1 to 2 waves almost. So if you are losing a wave, why your jungler should lose the same thing that you are losing to help you? Because you are the carry, he is the jungler? Yeah, most likely, but he won't do that. And you should not need that if you are a good player. So if you are weak side, he can only save you from I'm not going to say he can only save you, but he can only save you without being punished in the jungle if you mess up your wave 4 minutes and 20 seconds or later. If you mess sooner, then he will lose something, tempo or XP or something that is valuable for him. Okay, another timers, blue and red buff. How many players know? Do you know when the first, again thinking that full clear, when the first blue will respawn and when the first red will respawn? For example, I started in the blue. When blue is going to be respawning? 5 minutes, 1:30, you take like 20 seconds, 6 minutes and 50 seconds. Around there. And this one also around 7 minutes and 50 seconds, 7 minutes and 40 seconds, depending if you skipped camps or not, if you're fast jungler or not. So what this timer means, 7 minutes and 40 seconds. This is a timer that is very near to 8 minutes, herald. So you can, so your second buff will be respawning at the same time as herald. So if you start topside, your red will be respawning very near herald timing. So you have to do something like that, going top to like raptors and go instantly herald. You can't do red in this case, and you can use like red for the herald power play. Or maybe you do herald and you go herald, sorry, you do red buff and you go herald like a little bit later, because you're not doing herald in the respawn, you're doing like 8:30, 8:40. Sometimes you can do that. Okay. Okay, we have thought of some things about herald, and also if you do bottom to top in blue side, enemy jungle, if he's smart, but nobody is, so forget, because he needs his laners. This is not happening in a solo kill game. He will have blue buff and gromp respawning near herald time. So if you like do a super play with your support, mid laner, top laner and jungler, you can steal 2 to 3 camps, even if this is like huge, and do herald. And obviously he will steal your camps and maybe try to dive your AD carry if he's a good jungler, blah blah blah. But even though, if you are able to steal his topside camps and do herald, even if the play around bot lane goes badly, probably is going to be worth it for you. Because you you can't have the worst wave state ever in bot lane. That is many times the case. So again, something else that is completely bound to this. You remember that I said his gromp will be alive. How do I know his gromp will be alive? Jungle camps are 2:15. Blue buffs are 5 minutes. How much is 2:15 plus 2:15? 4:30. You take like 15 seconds, 10 seconds to do a camp. So if you instantly do a camp 2 times, right in the first clear and in the second clear, you know that your camp will be respawning at the same time your buffs. This is also why it's so important to not overextend your game after that 4 minutes and 20, and also in the second clear after 6 minutes and 30, probably around there. You need to be recalling, because if you don't, at some point your camps will be respawning in a different timer from your buffs, and you don't want that, right? You don't want to do gromp 1 minute to blue respawn, then you have to do like 2 ganks on top and 1 mid, then you go back to blue, then you go back to clearing, and for some reason you did red in the past clear. So now after raptors you have to decide between going krugs or doing proactivity and forgetting krugs since you don't have red buff. Like, having your camp synchronize is very important, especially to farming junglers. Of course, if you are invading jungler like Nidalee, maybe Graves, if you get strong, Lee Sin, if you can do enemy jungle camps, if you can do other stuff, it is fine. But if you can't, it is not. And also another timer that we can think about, Scuttle is 3:15. Let's say people take, they do Scuttle at 3:30. Right, 15 seconds for both Scuttlers together. So if we go here, Scuttle respawn, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. We know that the Scuttle will be respawning at 6 minutes. So this is the end of one of our clears. The end of our second clear, sorry. So you can be lucky or you can't be lucky. So example, you did bottom, sorry, you did blue to red pathing. Around your second clear, you'll be here around 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Right? Because 420, 440, 5 minutes he's going to respawn, you take like some seconds to kill, maybe you are like 10 seconds out of tempo, that is fine. So like 420 to 430 you'll be around your third camp of your second clear. This means Drake is respawning, so you can, instead of doing krugs, you can do Drake. But another thing is going to be already shown in the map, the Scuttle Crab respawn. And now here you can make a very smart decision that most junglers, most farming junglers don't do, or maybe they do, I don't know, is that already in the minimap will be shown where the Scuttle is going to respawn. If it is top or bot. If it is bot, great. You do your krugs and you can go to Scuttle. If it is not, you can, instead of going krugs, you go for topside Scuttle in your second clear, right? And this Scuttle gives a lot of experience. He's not like the first Scuttler that is super bad. Also, if you know that the enemy jungler is not around, if you're a farming jungler, you lose 1v1, blah 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 blah. So, if you skip one camp to get a Scuttle, don't think of the Scuttle as a normal camp after the first one at least. You are getting golden XP that are worth one camp, you are denying gold and XP of one camp, and you are giving vision. Like, this is huge. The vision, probably not that important to be honest, but denying gold and XP is like stealing one of enemy camps, right? So it's more valuable than krugs most cases. So okay, we talked about synchronizing your jungle with your buffs. This is easy. Synchronizing with drakes is easy, you do top to bottom. Synchronizing with herald, you do bottom to top, because if you do top to bottom, you'll be here around 7, then you do that and go top. Right, you can do that if you, especially if you overextended in one or two of your clears doing ganks, but it cannot be optimal. The optimal way is to have 2 buffs and level 7 almost in herald. So yeah, if you do 3 full clears. And these are the basics of the jungle. So also the same effect that happens with buffs happens with Drake, right? 5 minutes respawn. So this means if you synchronized your first clear with Drake, right, you did full clear, 3 camps, Drake. As I told you, 5 minutes and 30. Then you, I don't know, you do some proactivity, recall, full clear, recall, full clear, your third camp will already be spawning again with Drake. But there's a problem here. Usually after Drake, like, you want to do something, or after recalling you want to do something, then you do a proactivity that takes 1 minute, and now you do a full clear, and your top side camps will be respawning at the same time Drake is respawning, because you did proactivity that took too long. 1 minute, 1.5 minutes is enough to have your top side jungle respawning at the same time Drake. Then you have to take a horrible decision between going Drake without doing any camp, or without recalling if you want to overextend more until Drake, have a 2 minutes and 15 seconds overextend, I don't know. So you skip one entire clear from your jungle that is worth 700 gold. Or you have to like go to your top side camps and hope that your bot lane is able to stop Drake, that the enemy jungler is not doing Drake, this kind of stuff. And then you can do like 3 camps and go Drake and do a delayed Drake and resynchronize your camps. But this is like in solo queue, maybe you can get away with that in the second Drake, probably not after that. But in competitive, you're not going to do that, right? So you need to think on synchronizing the camps. And if you use that mobilytic stuff, BlitzGG stuff that shows jungle timers exactly the seconds, etc., man, stop doing that. Stop using that shit. I'm not saying against mobilytics and not against BlitzGG, but jungle timers need to be in your head, and they are the same every single fucking game. And if they are not the same, you need vision and map awareness to track the jungle. So if ally spots here the enemy doing raptors, you need to be able to look in the minimap and track, okay, raptors. But if you're using these programs, you are not punished by not paying attention to the map. Therefore, you're not paying attention to the map. Therefore, you're a worse player. And if you go into a competitive game, are you going to ask the judge, can I use mobilytics, please? Can I track enemies jungle camps, please, for free? Or maybe you can ask if you can use summoner spells tracking, or maybe you can use a script. I don't know, maybe the Riot will allow, right? Will they allow you using a script? Because here in Brazil, everyone is scripting and Riot is allowing, at least in solo queue, so maybe the game is going to be very similar to competitive, right? So this is all for today. So I forgot about Baron. 20 minutes, Baron is respawning. So Baron respawns at 20 minutes, and if you remember, Drake respawns at 5. 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 is 20, 4 times 5. That is 20 minutes to doing 5 Drakes if you like insta-killed them. And the same time that Baron respawns, right? So if you did not insta-killed, if you just did, it will be 22 minutes or 23 minutes. And this means this is the first Drake soul threat, 22, 23 minutes into the game. So if you have a scaling comp in either side, they cannot fight at the 22, 23, 20 minutes. So usually the scaling comp would give away this first Baron and this 23 minutes Drake. But if it is Drake soul, they cannot give away, because they will have only one item, most of the players, and this is super bad. You have to team fight as a scaling comp with one item here. So as a scaling comp, you want to do one Drake, so the timer is 27 minutes to the Drakes. If the enemy got every single Drake after that first or that second Drake that you got, it will be 27 minutes, and also the Baron will be around 28 minutes. And 28 minutes can also be the Drake timer. So if you have a scaling comp, you want one Drake, so you can wait until 28 minutes, that is Baron and Drake soul point, for a team that has 3 Drakes against 1 Drake. In this timer you will have 2 items, and you will be able to at least have a team fight as a scaling comp. So yeah, this is the last timer that I wanted you guys to know. So if you have a scaling comp and you have opportunity to do the first or the second Drake, please do it, because the third is probably your best shot, but you have to team fight the third Drake if the enemy has 2 Drakes, because the third Drake is the mark that usually players have 1 completed item, and you want to do like, if the enemy team is ahead, the enemy team will have like 1.5 and you have 1, right? So you are forced to fight 1 against 1.5 instead of fighting 1.5 against 2 right items if you are a scaling comp and you are under gold. So to avoid fighting the third Drake, please try to do the first Drake while the enemy is doing herald. And if the enemy does do the first Drake, they are probably in bad tempo and bad mana and HP, so they need to recall. And you can get tempo before, recall before, get pressure before. In a way, you can make a herald rotation and get herald. Then suddenly, probably your scaling comp is not looking as a scaling comp because someone has a huge amount of gold. I hope at least 320 gold, a huge amount of gold. That I hope like you can take a turret in a way to snowball one of your late game carries, and now you can really fight that second, third Drake fight, right? Even fourth Drake fight maybe. So yeah, this is all. I covered many jungle timers, so you can also, let's think what I talked about today. First camp respawn, when is it? Drake respawn, when is it? First blue respawn if I started in the blue side, when is it? First red buff respawn if I started blue camp, when is it? Herald, when is it? Where do I start if I want to synchronize my jungle respawns with Drake? Where do I start if I want to synchronize my jungle pawns with Herald? How much tempo? When is the first Scuttler going to respawn? And when is that comparing to my jungle timers if I did 2 perfect sequences? So I think these are timings that I talked about today. Also, when I am in risk of being ganked in strong side, when I'm in risk of being ganked in weak side, and when I'm able to get help at weak side. When is the first moment I am able to get help at weak side without prejudice? I don't know, without my jungler losing gold or XP. So these are the timers that I talked about today. Also, when is Drake so if you have 4 Drakes? When is Drake so if you have 3 Drakes against 1? When is first Baron respawn? When is second Baron respawn usually? So these are some timers that control League of Legends, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, and have a good evening.